Hello, today I want to talk to you about our plans for this upcoming school year with regards to United States history and geography. So, first up, we are going to be using the Beautiful Feet books, Early American History. Um, this is as it's a literature approach for primary grades. So a lot of the reasons why I ended up choosing this particular history curriculum is because it was based in picture books and we already owned a lot of the picture books. I really like a lot of the selections that they have. So I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I'm going to show you a little bit. So this is going to be starting at the time of the Vikings and go through the Civil War. So that's the time periods that we're covering. And here in the front, it shows you the different books, which I've got them all stacked up here. And I'm going to be showing you those briefly in a minute. So each section is introduced, and then they show you different books you can get if you want to extend and have more rabbit trails, is what they call it, with extra literature selections. And then this beginning lesson, they start off with a scripture here, but then very quickly reference to what page in the first book you're going to be using. The first book, talking about the Vikings, Leif the Lucky by Delers, and it is a picture book, but it is a dense picture book. There's a lot of information in here, and so the reading of this is split up over multiple lessons. Not because a child probably couldn't handle it, but because we want to try to make sure that they're taking note of things and really absorbing the material. So that is one of the books. Like I said, that goes along with the first lesson. And then you can see they give a few pictures for maps showing the kids where things are at. And then we come to this section called the historic table, which I think is really neat. So in each section, they give recipes based on the history that's being presented. So in this one, talking about different Scandinavian foods. And then right away, we're going into the indigenous peoples of North America. Golden Age Discovery. We actually have this rabbit trail book, The Follow the Dream, for Christopher Columbus. And so this is, like I said, I really liked that it was based in picture books. It definitely gives a guideline to kind of help you navigate using picture books as your resource. There's New England clam chowder and colonial apple cranberry tart. So I don't know that we'll get to all the recipes. It's a fun idea. And if nothing else, we can kind of take a look at it and talk about it, even if we don't get to do. But I do think we'll do some in Southern fried chicken. That's going to be an obvious one to do. So books that go along with these are not all in order. Moses, when Harriet Tubman led her people to freedom. Moses was a nickname given to Harriet Tubman. If you didn't know that, I wasn't aware of that until not long ago. Delirious Columbus, this is one that we had. A More Perfect Union, the story of our Constitution. This is one that we had purchased already. I really like this one. Crossing Bokchito, I believe is the way that's pronounced, about the Choctaw Indians. Encounter. The Hannah. The Winter at Valley Forge. Jamestown. Phoebe the Spy. not Columbus. We already did Columbus. Pocahontas. Buffalo Bill. My son will love the stuff about Buffalo Bill. He likes cowboys and all that. Dear Benjamin Banker. A Picture Book of Sacagawea. Squanto's Journey, the story of the first Thanksgiving. The Thanksgiving Story, this was one that we had. The Year of the Horseless Carriage. Pilgrim Stories. I've heard so many good things about this book. We have not gone into it yet, but everywhere I've looked at stuff for the time of the Pilgrims and things, this has come up as a very high recommendation. The Courage of Sarah Noble, which also happens to be a literature selection for Memorial Press later on, so that'll serve double duty for us. Squanto, Friend of Pilgrims. George Washington by Delaire. We went through this book some. My son really enjoys it. He likes George Washington. Abraham Lincoln. Abe Lincoln, The Boy Who Loved Books. I think this one actually I got separately of this bundle. I'm pretty sure. Benjamin Franklin. The 4th of July Story. We had bought this one previously. It is a part of the Beautiful Feet books curriculum set. Love, 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 love this book. Read it to my son this past Independence Day. The New Americans Colonial Times. The Discovery of the Americas. Struggle for a Continent, the French and Indian Wars. Once again, I think I might have picked this one up as an extra. And then this is just a kind of like a composition style book. This is meant for the students as they're going through. They have printables, I believe, online that are referenced in the teacher manual that they can cut out and color and make their own notes and kind of create a log of things that they're learning. Whether we'll use this particular one or not, I don't know. It's a little flimsy. I might just put it into one of his binders. But that is the books that came with the Beautiful Feet books. And I think it would be complete curriculum in and of itself as it is if you wanted it to be. I wanted to go into a little bit more on some things, and I'm going to explain that right now. So, as you might guess from the name of my channel, we are Baptists, and so something that I found very interesting a few years back was the richness of Baptist history in the United States. And so, in going through this, I wanted to incorporate some of that. This book we already had, American Crimson Red, The Baptist History of America. This is definitely an adult level book, but it does kind of give you a launching point to talk about some things that went on during the early colonial days and going into the first states of America. And the same people who put out the Prairie Fire Press, had a history and geography curriculum for grade 1. This right here, America from Sea to Shining Sea. Some of it I really like. Some of it I feel like is a little basic for where my kiddo is at. But if you've not done any kind of geography or anything like that up until this point, this would be a really great start. It starts with talking about the United States, our flag, but it does very quickly start going into, they use these kids, Billy and Betsy, to tell the story, but they start talking about different Christian leadership in America during its founding. So let me get to some of these. Dr. John Clark. Now right here, We have a little bit that's supposed to be written as if it was from him. And then talking about Columbus, Jamestown. Then we get into Plymouth Rock. John Winthrop, the first governor, a Puritan. And then we talk about the Quakers here. And then we're talking about the Baptists and Roger Williams. And that brings me to a book that I found, a picture book to go along with our history. This one right here, it's an I Can Read book, Finding Providence, the story of Roger Williams. So this is detailing this man's life and kind of what he went through. So this is going to be easy to just stick in the timeline and to cover just a few things to give a better picture of what Christian persecution looked like in the early parts of our country, because it was there, and it's not something that has to be super heavy, especially for such a young child, but it's good to know that it wasn't just all sunshine and roses in the Christian community, because whenever kids get older, they're going to be attacked with different viewpoints, and some of these things may get brought up to them, and if they're not aware that there was conflict, it could cause some struggles. So, also, just as a couple of extra books, these two were actually sent to me from a very dear church friend. Mr. Key's song, The Star-Spangled Banner. This is a book covering the War of 1812, and another book about the War of 1812 that I had picked up. So that is history, literature, selections, and things. Now, for geography, I got the Master Books, United States Elementary U.S. Geography and Social Studies curriculum. Now, this is supposed to be for grades 4 to 6. We're going to use some of it. We're not going to use all of it. We'll omit things where we need to. But I really wanted, along with our United States study, for him to learn his states and capitals. He's already learning the states. And so the teacher guide just has kind of a schedule, and then there's a few worksheets in here, coloring of the different state flags. And this was a big part of the reason why I went ahead and got this particular book. They have recipes as well to go along with the different states. As you're learning about the states, they have different recipes that you can make to coordinate with your state. And there's two big books that go with this. This is the Children's Atlas of the USA. And so in here, you've got all sorts of different information. One of the things, if you go to the Master Books YouTube page, you can listen to an interview with the author of this curriculum. That I really liked about it was, in each of the states in this book, they give the preamble to the state's constitution, and it was noted that most of the states had religious mentions in their preamble. So this one for Alabama: we the people of the state of Alabama, in order to establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, invoking the favor and guidance of Almighty God, do ordain and establish the following constitution and form of government for the state of Alabama. So I love the presence of God within these things without having to have it inserted. It was there. It was part of the founding of these states. So that is this book. And then this one, Passport to America. It gives a little passport where they can put in stickers. I find the whole concept of a passport a little odd with it being within the United States, but I did hear that that was something that they did in their world geography curriculum, and they just kind of move that over from that. But in here, so you've got obviously a different feel for this, and you've got an introduction from what would be like a kid talking about some of the interesting facts of their state, showing the flag, talking about the food. And so this is just going to be a fun little way of not only learning the names of the states, but attaching some memories to those states and hopefully helping to give a context and an understanding for the different places in our country. So, last thing up is I wanted to do more in the way of poetry this year. I wanted to be a little bit more specific with it, and I found this, A Year of Poetry Tea Time Patriotism. And so not all of this is United States patriotism. There are some things that are not, but for instance right here, this is talking about the Boston Tea Party. And then we have George Washington, We Are America. And in here, along with the poems, there's all sorts of, this is a huge book, by the way. Whenever I ordered this, I was not expecting this huge book to come. I was very pleasantly surprised. Within here, they go through things in a year order. They have their poetry broken down by months, but they talk about ways to use the book. They have different kinds of teas to try. They have some different recipes and cookies and things, and my son is super excited about doing poetry tea time, which I'm going to soak in for as long as I can because I know he is little right now and that is likely going to change. But I even got him a teapot for the occasion so that he can have his tea or punch or whatever ends up going into our teapot here. But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing this. So the way that I plan on breaking this down as far as a practical week is history. I'll do Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then the geography portion due on Tuesday and Thursday. Because obviously geography is not going to line up exactly with history, especially because I believe this curriculum goes in order of states alphabetically, not in order of inception. Lastly, I have reference books left over from really diving headfirst into the NOAA plan. And so I will be pulling from references as I feel like I can, and they'll be useful. So this one is the Bible and the Constitution of the United States of America. This one, we've already used some. George Washington, the character and influence of one man. There's some of his writings in here, original source documents about him, things about his military experience in the French and Indian War, all sorts of things. And then the Christian history of the American Revolution. Once again, nice big thick reference book. And so just really looking forward to spending some time going through United States history with my son. He's already excited about it. He's watched the little TV series Liberty's Kids and really gotten a lot out of that. And I think that he is going to really enjoy doing this. And I'm grateful to be stepping back from world history for a year. I think that it's good to understand our own country. I think that the geography will be a little simpler and obviously closer to home. And then after this year, we'll branch off and do some more world history. So I don't know if this will be helpful to anybody else, but I'm excited, and I'll be sharing more things like our science and others coming up soon.